Boom, bam, bam. Welcome to the EPL Rewind on the United Hour. I am President Chad. That is Adelaide. That is Adelaide's. And, Adelaide's boy, the football in the Premier League is going amazing right about
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
going
yeah. This season is
amazing.
a season to remember. For sure,
This
sure, sure.
game week 13 which is what we are reviewing today. A lot of upsets. We have Liverpool being upset. We have Spurs somewhat, I guess you would consider it being upset. You had teams that was getting spanked all the time, like Leicester and Aston Villa and Everton suddenly waking up. So
Yeah,
a lot of talk about this week. But let's start off with the team Liverpool losing to Nottingham Forest.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, let me just run through the details and then we'll talk a little bit about the game. So Nottingham Forest scored Awani. Forgive me, it took me a little while to pronounce his name properly, right? So, so Awani scored for Nottingham Forest in the 55th minute, sinking Liverpool. But Adelaide, if we honest, um Liverpool only lost that game 1-0 because of the heroics of Alisson.
Yep,
I
yep.
mean, good morning to Martin Phillip. The truth be told, Liverpool could have easily lost that game by a lot more. Alisson put in, I don't know, a Herculean
Yeah,
performance
yeah,
against Liverpool.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that game? And generally, what are your thoughts on the state of Liverpool at this point
Well,
in
that is what I was going to touch on actually, because from since early in the season, we have mentioned it. I think before the season start, when we did the show, I shared that was one of my major concerns was Liverpool. We have seen this movie before with Jurgen Klopp. We have seen it at Hoffenheim with Jurgen Klopp. We saw the same thing at Borussia Dortmund with Jurgen Klopp. And we are seeing the same thing with Liverpool, at least starting from last season, where the team looks tired. He burns out his teams a lot of time, and his style of play and his style of attack never really changes. He brings in different, probably types of players, but to play in the same role, if even. Liverpool have been toothless. I know a lot of people could say they have a lot of injuries, which is truth. We cannot deny they don't have injuries. But that midfield at the moment really is dead. There's nothing going for them in the middle of the park. There isn't no creative genius to say. Thiago is trying his best to be some sort of a moderator or a regulator. But we're in a era now where Mohamed Salah's biggest trick that he had, which was his pace, everybody could adapt it and adjust it. So now Mo Salah is not there as the great threat that we once knew. Their most dangerous player in terms of who would have stabilized and regulate how the attack would go in Sadio Mane. They released him. I guess the backroom staff, they will deal with that. But they're definitely missing Mane. Now, to be honest, Nottingham Forest being bottom of the table, they would be kicking themselves. They'll be more than elated with 3 points. But if I was the coach, I'd be kicking myself. Because as you said, Alisson, I don't know if Alisson can have a game like that for the rest of his career, probably because he was absolutely outstanding. And to back on that same point, it also showed up how fragile some of these super defenders that Liverpool have really, really are. Like, if it wasn't for Alisson, a lot of them, they would show up. But football tends
and
to go a
and
kind of way that if a
and
goal
the
isn't
truth
scored,
and the truth be told, it is not the first time
no.
this season alone, we ain't talking about the career.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
season alone, there are a number of players at Liverpool, defenders primarily, Van Dijk, um, um, what's the name
Trent,
of the winger? Trent,
yeah,
Alexander. These guys have been shown one thing,
yeah.
and Well, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
I know we still is only game week 13. Where you think Liverpool going to end up? In or out of the top four?
Nah, if I'm being honest right now, whew, it'll be a scrap for somewhere between sixth and fourth. Fourth is a long shot. I really don't see them finishing fourth. Personally, I expect because a lot of money, Salah is in the limelight and he's under pressure. There was a lot of money and different things invested in him to renew
Liverpool,
his contract.
Liverpool break the
Yeah,
structure to
yeah.
get Salah anything.
So he has to deliver, and I expect him to deliver probably after the World Cup or the New Year, and then the African Cup of Nations. So we had to watch all those things, but he will deliver sooner rather than later. Um, but that midfield and definitely Trent, every team targets Trent. It's kind
Well,
of really
you should target him
wow.
because he's
Every
atrocious
team
as a
targets Trent and
defender.
they are successful at him at targeting him. So um, we know Joe Gomez is never consistent. He deputized one or two times out on the wider part, and he really looks solid. But you can't trust Joe Gomez neither for the rest of the season. So Liverpool, I'm not seeing Liverpool finishing higher than anybody. So Man City for sure higher than them. Chelsea with Graham Potter there, who he's hell bent on defense. They'll be higher than them. Spurs are looking shaky, but Spurs are not going to finish higher than them. Definitely Arsenal, who we don't know where they catch our fever from, but Arsenal going to finish higher than them. Um, and then they up for scraps with any of the other teams that come. Let's take out probably Nottingham Forest, even though they beat them. But any of the other teams, they could scrap with Liverpool right now. It might sound, people may say it might sound funny, but a lot of the other teams, they're basically on par with Liverpool now. And who thought we'd have been saying this one season after they would have appeared to be so dominant, you know?
Well, I personally believe that Liverpool are the pundits' favorite, the English pundits' favorite, because they don't ever say anything bad about Liverpool at all.
Yeah,
Despite how horrible Liverpool is performing at present, if you just listen to the English media, you will think Liverpool in striking range are the title.
yeah.
So, I have no sympathy for what is going on in Liverpool at the moment. But that being said, it is still shocking. I don't think any
Yeah.
of us expected Liverpool to be this bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had Allison running up twice in extra time, for corners. I
Yeah.
mean, a goalkeeper running up in extra time for corner. You only see that in like finals in World Cup and
Yeah. And
real
to emphasize this
important games.
against the bottom of the table team.
And yeah,
Against the bottom of the table team.
not when you playing a team that now get promoted the 13th game in the season. The
Yeah.
13th game in the season, Allison had a run up. That shows you the desperation that Liverpool that is going on at Liverpool
Yeah.
right now. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, serious desperation. So let's move on to Everton versus Crystal Palace. Um, that was a very good game in terms of action.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
finally saw the man Dominic Calvert-Lewin
Yep.
playing for Everton, scoring in the 11th minute. Let me run through all the scores and then we'll just talk about not so much the game, but about Everton, the football club.
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon scored in the 63rd minute, and the
Mm-hmm.
final goal was Dwight McNeil on an assist from Iwobi in the 84th minute. Do you think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to stay healthy this time around?
No. No.
So now my thing is, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin stays healthy, Everton, who has had a fairly good defense, they've been losing games, but when you look at goals conceded, Everton
Yeah.
is in top four in terms of
Mm-hmm.
solid defense, right? There are certain teams that kind of surprise you when you watch individual stats.
Yeah.
Everton is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Everton on the table and you think, yeah, well, that team is crap. But defensively, Everton has been good, but they just haven't been able to score goals.
Yes.
I say with Dominic Calvert-Lewin back, he should be in a gear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But if he's not going to stay fit, you
It'll
think
be tough. I
Everton
think
gonna do well this season? They're gonna bounce out of this?
I think with him, it's imperative for him to remain fit. Because they have a lot of players who they tried in different roles to fill his gap. Anthony Gordon did a good deputizing in the position in terms of movement and stuff, but he isn't a natural or a clinical finisher. So he will create and get a lot of chances, but he isn't the finisher or the entire play. I think now where the team has become because of so Calvert Lewin's absence, I think was a blessing for Lampard because the other players that were able to play in
They
and
had to
around
step
the
up.
channels because of him. You find the style of play of Everton changed. Everton was very monotonous and they weren't good to watch. Always trying to play everything direct. And with him out, with Gordon and they deputizing on top, it led to a resurgence for Alex Iwobi, who everybody was saying was going to be probably the flop of the season. But with the challenge created now, he literally didn't feel under pressure to have to try to create magic to score some wonder goal. He's comfortable now knowing players are going to make certain runs, defenders are going to follow them, and he could deliver balls. And his delivery has been improving with every passing game. Now with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who, regardless of what anyone says, he has proven that once he is fully fit, match fit that is, he's one of the deadliest strikers in England. That is for sure on his day. And with him now, who normally has good movement, him being fit is a problem for a lot of teams. Him being fit now, why I said I do expect him to be fit, um, he's just come off a long-term injury. He looked decent in the game, he really did. But I have the feeling that he's going to be trying extremely hard to cement himself as that starting player on top. Because within his absence, the rebuild happened without him. So there are options that he could always rotate.
And we also have to remember it's a World Cup year,
Well, that and all too.
and as much as that should really be in his rearview mirror, he should be focusing on his club career at this point in time. Sometimes strikers love to have delusions of grandeur.
Yep.
But I want to ask you this: where Everton is concerned, where Calvert Lewin is concerned, isn't there pressure on Lampard to try to keep him fit? Shouldn't Lampard be trying to ease him back? If he gets injured again, and I know you talk about the player trying to
Yeah.
reestablish his dominance, but if Lampard overplays him, I
hmm
think I think that the fault of that would be on Lampard. You agree?
Yeah, I fully agree. I fully agree with that. You're bang on point, actually. Because the club would know, the owners know for sure. And you saw it when he was declared, not this game that they played weekend here, but since the game before, when he was declared fit enough, but not really fully match fit. The directors and everyone spoke highly. You felt the excitement, even reading the articles. So him being back is a big, big, big priority for the club. Him remaining fit is definitely a big priority for the owners and they as well. And I know Frank would know this. So it is his duty to make sure that he stays fit. What we need to consider as well, President Chad, is that a lot of people weren't giving Frank Lampard the chance. Nobody thought Frank Lampard would have ever seen
I am one.
Halloween. I am
I
one
am
for sure.
one. I am surprised how many managers, including Gerrard, that has been fired and Frank
Yeah.
Lampard is still in a job. So
So I think what happened is he tried it at Chelsea, but he didn't use his players the best because Frank Lampard, as a player, benefited from a fluid midfield and a fluid style of play from a team. Chelsea just ain't built up that way anymore, so it didn't work. But at Everton, because of the players he have, it really can. And because it could work by Everton, I think with it being in process and they trusted him, now it's beginning to happen. But again, as we said, the problem with Everton was they started to become almost like Wolverhampton Wanderers, where Everton started looking really good, creating a lot of chances, ton loads, but they just couldn't find the
couldn't
back of the
finish.
net.
Couldn't finish.
And with Calvert-Lewin back now, I think everybody's optimistic to see Everton starting back now on a consistent basis to bang in goals because now you have a proven goal scorer back in your lineup. him being fit is everybody's job, but mainly Frank's to keep him fit. If he remains fit, Everton can finish mid-table for a surety. If he goes out again, whew, we could really be talking relegation. It might sound weird, but if he goes out again, I think we could really, really be talking relegation because this
I
season is
don't think
already chaotic.
I don't
And
think it's
then
weird
if
at
he
all.
goes out, hmm,
I don't think it's weird at all because I was looking at Everton in a relegation battle at the beginning of the season. So if without Dominic Calvert-Lewin, despite the performances of Gray and Gordon, I expect that. But let's talk about Manchester City versus Brighton. Now, Brighton is a team that had been doing well up to the point of when Potter left. I do, I'm not upset with the performances of their new coach. Their new coach was doing fairly well, but this game, not this game, the last few games, Trossard has just seemed to
whew,
not be scoring. But he did score a beauty in this game. So
mhm,
Manchester City 3, Brighton 1. Let's hope that now they could get their scoring boots back on
yeah,
and click back in. Now, Erling Haaland has been a monster. Let me just run through the scores and then I'm going to talk to you about Haaland. We're not going to talk about this game. Manchester City beating is not news, nothing to talk about. Erling Haaland scored in the 22nd minute. He, interestingly enough, this is about the second time for the season that Edison has provided an assist.
yeah,
I don't know about anybody else, but Edison, when you have goalkeepers providing assists, and
yeah.
Edison and Allison are the two goalkeepers, and Pickford, right? We've had three goalkeepers providing assists this season already. When you have goalkeepers providing assists, and I mean, it's not like Manchester City don't have a midfield.
True.
It really shows you the dangers in the men in front,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the case of Erling Haaland, in the case of Pickford, I can't remember who scored the goal for Everton when not Pickford, sorry. In the case of Mohamed Salah, who
Yeah.
scored on an assist from
With
Allison,
us. Yeah.
and I can't remember who it is that scored for Everton with the assist for Pickford. Can't remember, but that is not important. So Erling Haaland scored with an assist of Edison in 22nd minute. Then he scored a penalty in the 43rd minute, and Kevin De Bruyne with a
Whew.
worldie in the
Yeah.
75th minute. Trossard scored in the 58th. Now, the question I have for you is this. I don't know, but every time I think about Erling Haaland, I keep thinking about 40 goals.
Yep.
40 goals in the Premier League is unheard of.
Yeah.
It's not Spain,
Nope.
right? It come like in Italy for people who watch Italian football. Once you break 20 goals, you are considered a
Yeah.
phenomenal striker
Yeah.
in Spain. I mean, for you to just be a top striker, you need to be around 20 goals regularly in
Yeah.
England. But in Italy, where scoring is hard to do, when a striker crosses 20 goals, that's it. But in the Premier League, you had to cross 30 goals for you to
Yeah.
be that elite echelon. And I'm talking 30. Do you think Erling Haaland is going to score 40 or more goals this season?
I
I think
definitely
30,
think he.
I
I
think
think he
30
can.
is a given.
I think he can. Um. The thing about it is Erling Haaland is such a complex type of a forward. I don't think we ever saw a striker as complex as him. Whereas he has the movement as like a poacher, but he also has the dynamisms of a target man and the mindset of a false nine. So you 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 would want England is highly they bench themselves defensively on the physical aspect, staying close. But against Erling Haaland, that is a nightmare. You stay close to him, he has deceptive quickness and strength. So he's going anytime you come up on him, he turns you and pushes, and you're not going and throw him down, and you're not going to catch him neither. So the natural setup of English defending, traditional, that doesn't work. Well, you would say you would stand off him. Well, that don't make sense either because he's brilliant in his offensive awareness and his movement. So you can't do that neither. And then you may tell yourself, well, okay, well, then if we can't do either of the two, then let's just shut him out then. But then he thinks like a false nine too. So he has no problem holding up a play or pulling himself out of the danger zone and
And making
releasing
the
men like
late run in the
Foden
box.
and them. And
Yeah,
then releasing
actually,
the later on to
because sometimes you
Tapi.
see that
Yeah,
when not when
yeah,
Foden and these guys have the ball, but sometimes when somebody midfield have the ball and you look in the box, he on the top of the D. When the
yeah,
box had 2 or 3 City players in it, he
yeah.
knows when to make that. And as a defender, you're not gonna leave those guys free to mark Erling Haaland.
No,
You're gonna draw back and do your assignment. And then when
that's it.
he comes in with that late run, it's like, how you
Yeah.
going to stop him? Or.
And he has picked up this trend that I didn't see it at Dortmund. I really didn't. I didn't see Bali Club before neither, but by City now he's picked up this trend where it's almost as though he's playing mind games with the defense. So if you watch a lot of his goals that he would go like when they're squaring balls across from the tap in, if you watch the replays at the same moment that the defenders or the defense line start stepping up, it's like he times at that precise moment and start driving. And for you to stop stepping up to go back now, it puts you in a halt.
Oh
And by the
yeah,
time you
momentum
halt,
shift.
he's gone. He's long gone. Um, 40 goals is is definitely within his range. Um, and I don't think it could be 40 goals like one season neither. I think this guy could do this over and over and over and over there. Um, his thing would be remaining fit. We know England had, well, back in the days with the ancient Stoke City and these teams and the ancient Burnleys, and when they realized they have a striker they can't deal with, England had this devastating mindset where we would break you up, so we don't have
Well,
to deal
that
with
is the Italian mindset.
you.
Put
So
shorten
he
the
would
great
definitely
Ronaldo
thrive
and
in England.
Brazilian
Um,
Ronaldo's career.
my only concern would be his manager, because even though he's bang on form and you would want to leave him right through like that, we saw even how much Pep loved Aguero. And then there were times in the second half of the season, like Aguero would be bang on form, but then he would strangely just pull him out of the lineup and to rotate and play other men when it really didn't seem necessary. But that's the Pep style. That could hinder Haaland. For me, that's the biggest obstacle for Haaland hitting 40 is if Pep decides to do that rotational Pep thing. And then this season is so ram cram, it would make sense a little bit too, because after the World Cup is done, we are going to be, if you love football, you're going to love life because it's going to be football around the clock. But Haaland could be on the downside because of that, because he may want to rest him for more Champions League games, which is everybody's focus right now. So yeah, we'll watch and see. But 40 goals, I think that's right within Haaland's radar.
All right, good. We will be keeping a check on that. Manchester United and Everton rounded off the Saturday games, 1-1. Again, we're not really going to talk much about our game. We're just going to move on. Only to mention, Jorginho scored a penalty for Everton in the second half, deep in the second half. At Manchester United scored for Casemiro his first goal in the Premier League, on an assist from Luke Shaw. What are your thoughts on Casemiro? Do you think Casemiro will be able to dominate in the Premier League at 28 the way that he dominated in Spain?
Yeah, hands down. I blame Ten Hag. I love Ten Hag. Trust me. I really, really love Ten Hag as a coach. I love the way he thinks and everything. But I blame Ten Hag because when Casemiro came across from Real Madrid, it wasn't a secret that Casemiro wasn't fully fit. It wasn't a secret that Casemiro even made it clear for himself that, he wanted time to adjust to the style of England and stuff. And I felt he did him wrong with his debut game, where he put him in a situation where he just wanted him to play. And he had a howler. And then all of a sudden, Casemiro was under intense pressure to deliver, because people were saying that's his first game of God. Casemiro is done a flop. We know how fans could be at times, well, outside fans. Not the Manchester United fans so much, but the Liverpool fans and the other fans who anti-Man U, they blew it up. And for me as a coach, that is something you need to really be considering, because here you are doing a rebuild. You brought in someone not just with the experience, but someone who also you have a disgruntled or unsettled Cristiano Ronaldo, and you have a Casemiro coming in who him and Ronaldo are really, really close. Not just really close, they have a great type of synergy on the field as well. So him being in a mental space now to operate at his best should have been your priority. That being said, we saw Casemiro show, and this wasn't Casemiro showing who Casemiro is. This was Casemiro now settling into England. Um, a lot of people love the promise of Scott McTominay, but I think that's curtains for him in that midfield there. Because Casemiro and Fred also are a really fantastic duo. You see that Brazil. And then Casemiro is not mistake prone neither. He's a central defensive midfielder primarily for most of the time, but he's also a very devastating box-to-box player. Within games, he does it sensibly. I think with him there now, Manchester United is definitely going to be a lot more stable. You could see the relaxation from a lot of different players. You saw Dallo even become more alive with Casemiro there, because they are not so much concerned about so much pressure coming down the middle of the park, because Casemiro is breaking down that. That being said, he needs to be at all costs with his mind. His mental needs to be clear. He needs to be settled, and he needs to remain fit. Whatever is happening around, he has to remain fit, because he could be the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League when he settles in at Manchester United. He really could be, and I'm expecting him to be. I'm just hoping that Ten Hag doesn't feel he's under so much pressure that he has to demand so much, because it's 13 games gone, but there are a lot of games still to play. So let him settle in, let the team develop, and
The
you'll
nice
get
thing
the best out of
about
him.
the nice thing about it is that, which might get some United fans upset, is that you have Scott McTominay, who has looked good, and no,
Mm-hmm.
nobody with any sensibility would say that Scott McTominay is on the level of Casemiro.
Yeah.
But as far as being in the team, he looked good. You have Fred, who has also looked good, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have Zidane Iqbal and Savage. You have these young players from Manchester United who look good in the preseason,
Yeah.
playing in the middle of the field as well. So there is not that need to say, well, you have to play Casemiro every 90 minutes,
Yeah.
week in, week out,
Yeah.
because there's no other choice. No, it doesn't have that. And that is good, because you don't really need, right now, Manchester United has that problem with Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
When you're trying to think of a United 11, there are a couple players that you just cannot leave out.
Mm-hmm.
Dallo is one on the right, and Bruno Fernandes is the other one. It's just like there's nobody else. The
Yeah.
only option is probably what to push Ericsson up. But I think
Yep.
Ericsson does his best work coming from deep,
Yep.
coming up.
Yep.
When Ericsson stays up, he will get the ball, and therefore he does
Oh,
not able to distribute the ball properly. So Bruno Fernandes is a challenge for United, but let's see how Casemiro goes. I really hope that what you say come to pass, and he does end up becoming a
yeah. I
dominant.
believe he will. I believe it. I believe it really is inevitable. I think it would really blossom after the World Cup, and I think everybody just hoping that he comes to the World Cup healthy as well. There is a World Cup here, and World Cup is in November, so most of the players you can see it in them. I know Belgium, they had a conversation with Man City, so that's the reason why you see De Bruyne getting less and less minutes, but he getting time to impact and stuff, because they need to make sure that he's healthy for the World Cup. Casemiro's focus, it definitely is for the World Cup, but after the World Cup is gone, I personally, I don't think the Premier League will be ready for for when that player comes back. That is me, from observing him from before. But yeah, we will have to see. We will have to see.
All right. Well, we all heard about the news about Gerard being fired. Um, I was a little surprised by the firing, but bad performances. Aston Villa is a team that has high aspirations when they came since not when, but since they have come up, their aspirations are high. So I could understand it. But what really shocked me more than anything else is this performance against Brentford, because Brentford are normally not slouches. You don't
Mm.
come and slap Brentford around, right? Even big teams struggle to dominate Brentford. And Aston Villa was just unbelievably dominant. I mean, the first goal was scored in the first minute by Leon Bailey.
Yeah, yeah.
Leon Bailey and Danny Ings, that partnership,
It's trouble.
watching that game,
That is
they look
trouble.
like two new players.
Yep.
The way they pass, the way Leon Bailey had like 3 assists this game,
Yeah.
right? And a goal. That ability to it was really well, not three, yes, 3 assists. It was really good. So let me run through the scores. Leon Bailey scoring the first goal in the second. He assisted for Danny Ings' goal in the seventh. Then a penalty in the 14th minute. So they went in halftime 3-0 up. And in the second half, again, now Leon Bailey may not have been credited with the assist because Ollie Watkins took like about 3 shots.
Yeah.
He hit the goalkeeper, it come off the post, it hit a defender before eventually Ollie Watkins found the back of the net. But the pass from Leon Bailey
Yeah.
deserves to be an
Yeah.
assist because
Yeah.
that pass was
It's
exquisite.
brilliant. Yeah, it's
Deep
really
on the wing, perfectly weighted cross ball, curve ball into the box, right under the goal, right in front of the centre back. He just couldn't do anything to stop the pass. And Ollie Watkins took about 3 chances, but eventually he got it right. Um, I heard one of the commentators in the game talk about this team is playing like the unshackled and X, Y, and Z. I mean, is it that these guys are just happy to see the back of Gerard? Is it that Gerard was playing too restrictive in his football because his lineup was like a Christmas tree most of the
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
right? 5 in the back, 4 or 2 or 3 2 1. That kind of lineup where it
Yeah.
was heavy. Now we know teams transition in games. So the fact
Mm.
that you see a lineup don't mean that the team plays like that all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Danny Ings, for example, there were very few games where Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins was on the pitch at the same time under Gerard,
Yep.
right? He was definitely more defensive. So do you think it's just a matter that Aston Villa, the shackles have been taken off? Or do you think
Um,
this is just a new manager's bounce? Because I really, after this kind of victory, people may be expecting things from Aston Villa. All I expecting is depending on who Aston Villa play, they're going to get licks. But you tell me, you give me your opinion.
all
What's
right.
going
So
on
for
with
me
Aston Villa?
personally, I think the Aston Villa that was playing when Gerard got fired and the Aston Villa that was present when Gerard had initially taken over in his early spell, it's two different playing styles. He definitely, when he just took over Aston Villa, he came across with the exact style that he was using at Rangers. What made Rangers look so fascinating, where his play involved the front three a lot. So it would be the two front wingers and the striker up top. I think in the midst of that now, they were really, really well. Bailey was injured a lot. But it created the avenues for that front three and that excitement. I think the players were really excited with it. Um, for me, things change, and I don't know if it's because of the personal friendship or relationship he has with Coutinho, or if it's his experience playing in England, what he may have probably think is the best way to penetrate defenses in England or whatever it was. But for some reason, he deviated from that. And then I just said he started going up the line of this new tactic with the Christmas tree. We would see it shift oftentimes too late in the second half where he would try to spread them wider again. But by that time, it's done, lost, and gone. And honestly, I think you could have seen the players not too comfortable just with that. Danny is a player who, one of the few strikers in the Premier League who loves taking touches on the ball. He loves getting involved. And I think with the Christmas tree formation, you saw him being frustrated as well because he didn't have that. And then the few times where Gerard would play him and Watkins together, they would work magic together because he gets to play and Watkins could run off him and he could try to create. Um, with this game that I watch here, I think one of the main issues, or one of the main things that helped the team as well, was a concern I personally had, because I was like, if you are leaking so much goals, you have one of the few natural utility players in world football. Milner is one, and one of the younger ones is Leander Dendoncourt. And I started questioning myself, because I was like, didn't Aston Villa buy Leander Dendoncourt? So then why isn't Dendoncourt featuring in the defense at least? Because they are tremendously shaky there. And anything in the air is goal. Why isn't he getting more time? And Dendoncourt played. Dendoncourt played this last weekend here, this game week, and Dendoncourt had Ivan Toney isolated. Ivan Toney, we are talking about. This guy is a muscle. He's a lot. So the players look. I don't want to say it like that, but you're onto something there, because they did look a lot happier. In this game, they looked a lot more relaxed. Um, I've seen it before at Inter. I've seen it at Liverpool before. Coutinho doesn't really deal well mentally when he's not the face of the team, or when everything is not circled around him. So he was having very average performances under Gerrard, but he was prominently the focal point to getting touches on the ball. That wasn't the case on the weekend gone here, and they trashed a very solid Brentford team 4-0. The new coach coming in, it could very well be the beginning of an era where we are going to trust Bailey and Ings and play Watkins and Ings up together, and the midfielders, they will just make sure things stabilize. When they get a chance, they could release a pass. And that isn't normally the psyche of Coutinho, and Coutinho is very bad for a locker room when he isn't having his way. So that is just something we could try to look forward to seeing how it develops. Um, but yeah, this Aston Villa team, for me, it was a great result on the weekend. Shackles were off for the weekend. But I can't help but agree with it to an extent, because I think when this weekend comes back here, it's like a holiday. Started like last weekend was a holiday, and I think this weekend coming back here, back to the office, licks like peas again. I think, because whew, it's almost like you don't expect a team to be playing so abysmal, if you want to say, and then they get a weekend break where they really break away and get a 4-0 win. Um, and then just like that overnight, I did change of things. No, 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 no. I think it's the relief and the freedom that they experience. They're glad with that.
And we don't know who the new manager is going to be as yet. They still
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
officially hired anybody, unless they're going to give the guy who's holding on now the job permanently, but we don't
Well,
know.
I think definitely for sure. That is the next thing. I think they're going to enjoy their freedom, or they definitely thrived in their freedom, because there would literally no restrictions. You have no coach really, so the players are able to play football amongst themselves and enjoy themselves. Let's keep in mind, when a new coach comes, it doesn't matter who the coach is,
He will
a
have a
coach always
philosophy.
comes with a system. So the freedom is definitely going to be hindered in some point or fashion. So I don't want to get on my high horses just yet about Aston Villa and woo and this and that. But definitely, teams are going to have to find a way to deal with Leon Bailey and Danny Ings. Like they need to find a way to deal with them, because these two people, they are a duo that both of them are tremendously excellent moving off of the ball. And Leon Bailey is finding back his confidence that he had at Leverkusen in terms of taking on shots, taking on players. So we'll see where that goes. But this weekend, whew, I expect an Alekin, but but we'll have to see. We really would have to see.
So the next game on that week was Leeds Fulham. That was a 3-2 thriller with Fulham beating Leeds. Rodrigo is back. He's fit. He's
Yep.
on the scoring sheet. He scored first in this game. So they went in halftime 1-0 Leeds up. And then we had Bobby Reed scoring and Williams scoring for Fulham, taking a 2-1 lead. Where is it? Okay, no, Mitrovic scored first. Mitrovic scored first. It went in 1-1 at halftime. Sorry, forgive me. And the second half, Bobby Reed and Willian scored, and then Leeds just capped it off, coming down in extra time. Well, late in the game with a
Yeah.
goal. At some point in time, I want us to take a deep dive into Leeds and these are American coach and the amount of MLS players, and
Yeah.
whether they are doing. We're going to assess whether Leeds is actually doing well, whether the coach. No, we need to keep in mind that Leeds is at best a mid-table club.
Yep.
So, we're going to assess them fairly, but we're not going to do that now.
Mm-mm.
We have some other important games to talk about, but we're definitely going to do that at some point. Maybe around the middle of the season, around the 18th game,
Yeah.
we're going to
But
assess
let's just
Leeds.
make mention, if we could make mention, to who has been one of the best buys for this season, but like nobody speaks about him, in Willian. Willian has been doing tremendous work at Fulham since he arrived. He hasn't been doing.
To me, the biggest shock is Andreas Pereira, to be honest.
Well, yeah, well, I don't see Andreas Pereira as a shock, because for me personally,
He was good
Andreas
before.
Pereira, I was surprised Manchester United let that youth go, because Andreas Pereira is quite the midfielder.
Because Willan
But
and Pereira, both of them came back from Brazil, playing in
yeah,
Brazil.
yeah,
And
you
Fulham
see, Pereira
benefiting
is
from
not naturally he never was naturally a ball winner. And I think that was one of the things. I mean, at Manchester United, they have always been a disciplined club in terms of ball retention and stuff. So he had to work a little harder, obviously, but he's not a natural ball winner. And I felt like they were
this number
forcing him
10
to play
role.
that type of a role, but he's a creative genius. I think at Fulham now,
This number 10 role is working for him.
yeah, that's him. That is who he is. So I wasn't blown away by what I saw from him. What I saw from him was what I expected to see from him, even at Manchester United. I think Willian was the one that shocked me, because I didn't expect Willian to come back in the Premier League. I mean, yes, it's Fulham is a smaller club, so your confidence already high, but I really didn't expect him to come in. He's not doing the overly fantastic things like he might have done by Chelsea, but he's doing all of the right things. He's picking the right moments to make passes. He's picking the right moments to make runs. He isn't always taking on a defender like he did at Chelsea. I guess him being older now, he's picking and choosing not just the moments, but the players who he's going to target for the game. So there are some games where he's going to beat down the flank right through, and he's successful at that. And then there are other games where he's cutting in to get a run at the defender on the inside. So he clearly knows what he's doing. Um,
Well, I have to give kudos to the coach of Fulham, because to me, Willan is a good player,
yeah,
but to me, it was always a matter of motivation. His
true.
best times at Chelsea was when he had this contract was coming up, and all
Yeah,
of a sudden his goals and assists every week, and you want to know, well, where is this Willan? And as soon as he put our pen to paper and get our extra paper, his
long road.
performances just dip. At
Yep.
Arsenal, he never really shone. I
Nah.
think he just wasn't motivated. I think that was more a money move than anything else. He clearly was motivated, and he's playing motivated now.
Yeah,
So kudos to the coach that is able to keep Willan motivated, because that to me
yeah.
is where the challenge is.
And
He's a
I
good
think he
player.
didn't like how I know one of the things for sure. Um I know they didn't publish it as much, but I know he was one of the players that faced tremendous racist abuse in England. And he did say it once. He made kind of allusion to it. He alluded to it once, where he felt as though, he felt alone. He felt like he wasn't really being defended as much. Um,
So actually, maybe playing with another Brazilian and having other people in the dressing room speaking Portuguese may actually be helping him.
but of course, yeah, that is definitely a play. I believe that for sure. I believe that for sure.
I didn't think about that angle, but you see that's why we decide you on the program to say these little nuggets that we may not be aware of.
Yeah,
Arsenal dropped points only for the second time this season. They drew with Southampton. It was a little surprising, but it is the Premier League.
yeah.
And we shouldn't be surprised when the teams on top lose to teams that's struggling on the bottom, or
Mhm.
drop points to teams that's struggling on the bottom, because that's how it is go. So Arsenal drew 1-1. Granit Xhaka scored in the first
Whew.
half, and Stuart Armstrong scored in the second half. Southampton to me is one of those teams that need to watch yourself because where are the goals coming from? Ever since this guy from Chelsea's loan,
Broha.
Broha's loan has been up, you keep asking yourself, can Shea Adams and Armstrong get the job done?
Yeah,
And I don't think that Shea Adams and Armstrong is going to give Southampton enough goals. That's just my thoughts. You
yeah,
know, these guys are good. I'm not saying they're not good, but they need more goals than that.
definitely.
So we'll keep an eye on Southampton's progress. But Arsenal drop a little bit of points. It's still well in the lead. Leicester to me was shocking because Leicester is a team that has struggled is to say it.
To see out results, to keep clean sheets and all these things too.
Yeah, you know, Leicester, and this is like the second clean sheet in a row
Yeah,
for Leicester. So you had Yuri Tillemans on the score sheet, Harvey Barnes, a player that I really like on the score sheet, James Maddison, which has been a shining light for Leicester, Jamie Vardy, a resurrection, coming back and scoring a goal, the last goal of the game, Jamie Vardy come like a vampire in the Premier League, the man that just don't know how to die. You can't get rid of that guy. Wolves continue to struggle.
Yep.
They fired the coach. They brought in Diego Costa. They continue to look good and not finish goals. The same problems that existed before continuing with Wolves.
Listen, you see with Wolves, if I'm being honest, I think Wolves just need a coach, probably a coach who would walk in the dressing room like after every game or every training, or probably stop training and run out with a little bit and just start to beat certain players and be like, so you ain't listening? Because they have some players, I don't think you could bring any coach that they're going to bring in, Podence is going to get the ball and he's going to over dribble. When Neto is fit, Neto is going to do the exact same thing. And then they're going to have a striker who is never going to be sure when he's going. Well, Raul Jimenez isn't there, right? But they're going to have a striker who Wolves creates. I don't even know who creates more chances than Wolves. But you're going to have Wolves creating chances, and the striker has to probably check his run 3-4 times before that ball is delivered. Listen to me. Any striker that has to do that when the ball comes, it could be a glaring chance. It's going to become like a 50-50 because his mind is not focused on the ball coming through. He's going to be wondering, I wonder if we're going to pay it no boy.
When you get the ball when you don't expect it, you're not going to perform as well as when you get the ball and you know it coming.
No, and they are going to.
So you're saying that a big part of the challenge with Wolves is chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, well, let's see. Wolves have done well since they've come up. Let's see. But I'm one person who wouldn't miss them if they go down. But I don't expect them to. I just saying I wouldn't miss them. But let's talk about the final game of the weekend. Is it the final game or was there a game on Monday? Let me just check and make sure before I put my yes.
West Ham was Monday.
Talk about West Ham. Let's talk about West Ham now. Yeah. Let's talk about West Ham now because we want to end off talking about Spurs. West Ham played Bournemouth. Kurt Zuma and Ben Rama scored. Remember the last time West Ham played, they got a penalty and Bowen missed.
Yeah.
So he is off penalty duties. Anybody who have Bowen in a fantasy team because they think, well, sell that guy, forget that.
Yeah.
That's over. West Ham seem to be coming out of the slump because remember they were down there holding up the league with Leicester a couple weeks ago. But West Ham seems to be out of the slump, and this new striker Schumacher really seems to be coming into his own. I know you would know a lot about him since he came from Italy. How you rate Schumacher?
Yeah, well, Schumacher is a player who I really would have liked AC Milan to have bid for him. Not just his build and stuff, but he has a kind of confidence about him. You know, that kind of Zlatan-like confidence, like he believes he could do anything. Just put the ball and go in and go for it. And then he isn't afraid to take on chances. Like if he has a ball and the other players are not moving, Schumacher is going to try a shot. He's going to try it. I think that's the difference with Antonio. Antonio more or less likes to be the finisher of a play. But Schumacher has a very dynamic range to his game. Similar in a sense, not on the same levels at all, but similar to a sense like Haaland and Zlatan, like he probably even Giroud to an extent. He could play more than one role up top there. He definitely is a promise. I don't think we'll see him blossom probably until let me say the next 2 years or so, because that type of dynamism takes a while to really refine. So a player could find out his true identity in terms of playing, like what really is my strength. Because when you could do so many different things well, you leave yourself open to doing any of those. But you must identify yourself as to what your strength of play is, so the team could play around to your strengths. If something else comes up, you could adjust. So he has definitely been a breath of fresh air because Antonio has been having a stink of a season. So that is a light. And then, well, let's not even talk about Bowen, right? Um, Bowen not there. Bowen just not there. You know, like John Cena, like they just don't see me. He just gone away and disappear. So I think definitely as much as he had a lot of tensions with the coaching staff and stuff, I know Ben Rama, but they did well to put him in the team and he delivered. Ben Rama will always deliver, you know, but Ben Rama has to deal with his backroom issues. I mean, I think he's Algerian, and you know, Algerians very vocal, so they will sort that out. But for me, I am surprised that a player like Lanzini, who has the propensity and the capability to play right where Bowen is playing, why Lanzini isn't getting more minutes is beyond me. This makes no sense because you are playing Jared Bowen. It's not like Jared Bowen is looking, he's not looking horrible, but he's very much average and passive. There's nothing magical about him. And Lanzini is definitely a lot more electric than Bowen. Bowen is more clinical than him. But at this point of the season going in, Bowen really isn't giving you what you got last season. Something has to be done because if you don't do it, you as a coach, they are going to come for you. So you need to make the hard decisions now for the club and for yourself. And probably even for Bowen, because sometimes a player like that, they need a break, you know. Sometimes they
I
need a
don't
break
know,
to get yourself.
but this season more than any other, the bench seemed to be like spinach for certain people.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
understand? Son played 70, 60 minutes on the bench, come out and score a hat trick in 20
Yep,
minutes. Yeah, Salah in the Champions League, same thing. Start the game on
same
the
thing.
bench, come out second half, score a hat trick. We have seen even men like Luke Shaw, Manasseh
Yeah,
at United, the start of the season, on the bench, injured as well, come out and Luke Shaw is playing some of
perform.
the best football that he's played. And there are a couple other people as well. As soon as they get a little taste of the bench, when they come out, there is like a new player. So
Yeah.
maybe you're right. Maybe Bowen need a little bench. Maybe that is what will spark him back into the kind of crazy, unbelievable form that he had the end of last season.
Yeah, for sure. And I think West Ham is not a team that I am worried for just yet. I think because when I see the quality that they have, and they have a very solid team. You know, when you watch West Ham play, West Ham is a very organized team. I think personnel wise is where they really need to make they don't need to change their tactics and things so much. But personnel wise, somebody has to be able to make that strong decision to be like, okay, let's give Bowen a little rest. Let's bring in guys like Lanzini, even in the midfield as much as he's looking solid and playing well. You know, you could even decide to give even Declan Rice or Suchek probably a little rest at a point in time and give Fornals more minutes because Fornals is an engine and a boxer box as well. So it's just personal wide because they started fixing their defense. The defense started looking really good. But then if you watch in recent games, Bowen started, which is not characteristic of him, losing possession um, easily too. And there are breakaways and overloads happening down the wings. Um, Questwell, for some reason, he's not particularly as quick as he showed in seasons before. So they are being exploited. So personnel wise, they need to make some decisions there, and I think they should be fine. They really should. But their ceiling will be mid-table this season, I'm saying. think you're muted there.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was saying at best, my table at best.
Yeah,
I have a neighbor here. I don't know. He trying to bust out the engine on the car. I didn't
yeah.
want that song. I didn't want that song to spill over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Spurs. No, I don't know if to call this an upset because Newcastle to me is the team, the informed team in the Premier League.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Newcastle to me in more form than Arsenal and City right now.
yeah.
If you're talking, form, Newcastle is the team
They are
nobody
the
wants
team.
to play. They are the team that they seem like they could beat anybody at this point
Yep,
in time.
agreed.
Right? So Callum Wilson, you had Hugo Lloris after performing so unbelievably well against Manchester United, running out of the box, chasing down a ball, and Callum Wilson, the intelligent defender that he is, body check him. He falls on the ground. Wilson goes back for the ball, kicks the ball in the net. Spurs are hoping that they get a free kick. I was hoping they didn't, not because I don't like Spurs, but because
Yeah,
once a goalkeeper comes out of his area, this special protection that
yeah.
goalkeepers get, you shouldn't get it. You're
Mm-hmm.
not in the area anymore. You come
I
out and you
agree.
take the ball. If it was a defender, nobody would be looking at that as a foul.
True.
And VAR, to its credit, made the right call
Yep,
and the goal stood. So
yep.
1-0 to West Ham, Newcastle. And then you had the man who is on fire in the Premier League, the only other player on fire to Haaland right now, in my opinion, Miguel Almiron,
Yeah, boy.
a player
Yeah.
that I don't really rate. I have seen a lot of him over the years. I don't rate him, but right now,
Mm-hmm. That's the guy.
that guy from Venezuela is hot.
Mm-hmm.
He on fire. He's scoring for fun right now. That goal was well taken.
Yep.
Where that angle, he put that ball over Laurie into the goal. Well constructed goal. So they went in the halftime 2-0, and you told yourself, come on, this can't be 2 games in a row. Spurs is going to look horrible. Right? At some point, Spurs need to start playing football.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you, they didn't play much, but they played some, and they got off of a corner. They got a goal from Harry Kane. We don't need to talk about Newcastle. Newcastle is just running. My
Mm.
question to you is, what is going on with Tottenham Hotspurs?
Too
Is
much.
because I here is my challenge. My challenge is not that they're not scoring goals, because Son hasn't been the Son of last season.
Yeah.
Kane is doing what Kane does, but he can't be the man providing and only not finishing. Somebody had to pass the ball for Kane. So
Yep.
that is not my challenge. My challenge is that this is an Antonio Conte's team. And I
Mm-hmm.
am not accustomed seeing Antonio Conte's team conceding this amount of goals
Mm-hmm.
or chances. If it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't for Hugo Lloris, Spurs situation could be a
Yeah.
lot worse.
Yep. Yep.
United had so many chances against them. Newcastle had so many chances. So I keep asking myself, what is going on here? This is not what a Conte team. This is not how a Conte team plays defensively. You're still
Mm-hmm.
playing a back three and you're conceding a gazillion chances. What's going on at Spurs, in your opinion?
Spurs players just not good enough, you know. True. The players just not good enough. I mean, it may be hard for a lot of people to say. I mean, I was named after Osvaldo Ardiles, who played for Tottenham, so I always have a soft spot for them. But the players just not good enough. They have never had a coach who has been as organized and defensive oriented as Conte. Um, and how Conte sets up all his teams. Any Antonio Conte team, it puts responsibility. You have to be responsible as a defender. He doesn't try to cover it up. He never tries to tweak the system to say, well, to cover up for you if you're not defending well. You just had to step up to the plate. And any of the three of them in the back there, anyone, Dyer, any of the three in the back, you have to be very, very frightened about. And then the dynamism of Ivan Perisic, you can't rely on it because he doesn't commit as he used to by Inter or even in his time by Bayern. He cannot. He just cannot, because going forward, once they lose the ball, it's a nightmare in the back there. these defenders in the back at Tottenham, they are not good enough. We have Son, who isn't having a good season for one reason or the other. And it could probably be, honestly, because Conte prefers the play to be his natural wingers, which would be like Son and they, to be decoys with all his teams. And that is why I see other players would thrive under Conte, especially there is wing backs who become his wingers
Like
because he plays five in
Perisic.
the midfield. Yeah, like Perisic and they, because when they cut inside the wingers, his wing backs are trained and they are very much capable of overlapping. So when they cut in the angle and they give the wing backs, they could either go straight to goal and score or they can create with any type of delivery. If you watch Perisic crossing, Perisic's crossing is it's so versatile. Ryan Sessegnon was never a great crosser. From since in his even younger days, because he's still young, but even in youth teams, he was never a good crosser. And now we are seeing Sessegnon not only level with Perisic, but he's able to deliver either a driving ball across the face of the box. He could dink it from a difficult angle to on top the box for somebody else to hold. He could cut back a ball behind the defenders for someone to run onto and try to hit. That is happening. But from the minute they lose the ball, and you can see Conte is frustrated. I will not be surprised if Spurs goes after some defenders in January. Because you could see it on Conte's face like he's realizing this
Let me
Tottenham probably was beating people because people were afraid of the amount of offensive overload Tottenham had. So nobody would be really wanting to commit. But with Conte changing the tactics to making the defenders now be, all right, I can leave Oyer in the back because Oyer is supposed to be big defenders. Now they expose and they really are not good. They are not good. They really aren't
let
good.
me I'm hearing some rumors that Conte wants to go back to Juventus. Have you heard those?
I've heard it, but I didn't really buy into it so much. From what I've heard is that I've heard that Allegri is rolling on grace and grace alone, right? So I think this is a good time for him to get converted because the grace of the Lord really have him by Juventus still. Juventus would love to bring Antonio Conte there because he's a stabilizer of our locker room. There is no room for anybody to go out on the field without confidence when you are playing under Antonio Conte. And this is what even heightens my... I don't think Tottenham would get rid of him or would want him to leave. They would try their best not to because he has been there. He's been developing the team. And because he have put responsibility on the defenders, everybody, not just in England, everybody in the world know now that Tottenham defenders are trash. So it's better we keep him because if you bring anybody else and try to tweak the system, everybody don't know the defenders is rubbish. So they're going to have the players running at we anyhow. So it's better we leave the mastermind who set it up, who may create something to cover them, leave him there for as long as possible. So I think Tottenham for the major part of it, and we would hear more rumors coming out there. We definitely would hear more rumors coming out. But I think Tottenham would really want to fight for him to stay. I expect them to, because if he leaves, we could probably see Tottenham reaching a place where they would probably need to score 4 goals every game to win a game. Because they
Well,
already...
what I have heard, and I'm letting people know, these are rumors, right? I'm not saying that we're hearing this from credible journalists, but we're letting you all know what's going on out there, what is out there, and it's saying that if Conte leaves, they may look to bring back Pochettino.
Yeah, that has been there from since even last season, even before
Mourinho left.
Yeah, it has been there in the cards. I think personally that Pochettino is more a Pochettino issue, so I don't think he didn't want to throw his hat in the ring, because he's still aggrieved from different articles I would have read. He felt like he wasn't treated the right way. So,
but Pochettino to me also seems like he's looking for another big job, eh?
Yeah. But if I'm Pochettino, I'm Pochettino. I'm not coaching really to say, and then I'm looking for a big job to come into. Now I left Tottenham, and now I'm watching Tottenham playing under Conte. And when I'm watching Tottenham playing under Conte, I am Pochettino. I am not going to be sipping a cappuccino and watching and saying, "Oh, Eric Dyer, wow, I can't wait to coach this guy." No, I am no. I think he's really, if
all
he has to come back there,
all
he's
these
going
shining
to need money.
lights, all these shining lights at Spurs have to do with their attacking play.
Yep,
Um, Kulusevski and Richarlison are
yeah,
two wonderful acquisitions.
yep.
Is Kulusevski a full-time Spurs player? Or is he on loan?
I know he came across on loan. I don't think they made him full time yet. He came across on loan from by
he has been very good.
Juventus.
He has been
Um,
very good for them.
he's injured still. I don't know why
Yeah,
he's still
he's
injured,
still
but
injured. He's still injured. But those guys are good acquisitions.
yeah,
Hoiberg in the midfield is top notch, top
yeah,
notch. But you know, when I see men like Edison Royal looking good, and as you highlighted it today, the wing backs in Conte's system will look good.
mm-hmm.
You know, but after outside of those, outside of Perisic, Edison Royal, Sasson Young, the rest of the team
Not
really,
good
there's
enough.
nothing to get you excited about if you're a Spurs supporter. But
You
that is
see,
how it is.
the thing about it is too, right? Now, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has always been a mastermind of a box-to-box player.
Of course, top notch.
Um, he has been playing a more defensive midfield role with Spurs for some seasons. And the thing with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is the fact that he's very tenacious and very industrious. So he creates great cover for any defense behind him. And that is even adding now to, remember Conte. Conte is the type of manager. When you think Conte, think the mindset of, like, let me say, Alex Ferguson.
Mhm.
Think mindset of Angelotti. These are people who, when you're playing under coaches like these, that is why all these players are rated up, who were showing so much potential by their other clubs. Bebe and all of them. Bebe couldn't last. Bebe reached Old Trafford and jump back on the plane one time. Because when you play under coaches like that, they expect you to be responsible and know football. You can't play under um you could play under Alex Ferguson and tell yourself you're a defensive midfielder, but you don't know how to tread a forward pass through. You have to be a footballer. A footballer has to know the game. And the same thing is there with Antonio Conte. And the thing with Antonio Conte and the Fergusons and the past and Angelotti's, and they use players according to the player's strengths. So Højbjerg's strength is being box to box. So he's no longer going to leave Højbjerg sitting down in front of the defense to, guys, now we are going to get the best out of him, and he's utilizing him there. Now with him moving out from there, he has Rodrigo Betancourt, who is doing a reasonable job. But then again, as we said, behind them we have the Ascension League, and then there's trouble in the back there. We have the TNT Pro League All Stars in the back there, standing up right there, waiting to defend who? To defend Haaland. Oh, we listen to me. These guys out there looking like me. And I am like, wow, football is so scary at Spurs right now. What do you do to fix that defense? And for me personally, from what I've seen for the season, I think it's way past, the sit down and the pep talk and look, you need to no, I think they need to buy, and they need to buy like really, really quick. I would love to see them make a bid. I know that's your team, but I would love to see them make a bid for Diego Dallo, because he would be perfect for Tottenham system. Like, I think if he goes Tottenham system, he could probably score at least 8 goals in the second half of the season. I really think so. What a phenomenal player he is, but
there are a couple of teams here in Real Madrid and Barcelona right now are looking at
Dallo.
Dallo. Yeah,
Yeah, we were looking at him too. AC Milan was looking at him too, but remember the season he played by us, we really put him through torture because he played real good, but we come 6 or something there, so he ain't coming back by we. So we know that for sure. So we already running. So don't even think about AC Milan. But yeah, the other teams might
Well,
go
I don't
safe,
think
might go
Manchester United is going to let him leave. And for whatever reason, people can say what they want about Manchester United. At present, there's no player in recent history outside of Paul Pogba that wants to leave Manchester United. Everybody seems to want to stay. Everybody seems to want to be willing to even take a pay cut to stay. People want to stay at Manchester United. Even it started under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. People wanted to stay. and they still want to stay even under the new manager. So we'll see how that goes. I just want to run through quickly some of the games on the weekend, and you will tell me which games you're really looking forward to. Leicester, Man City,
Yeah, looking forward to that for sure.
Bournemouth, Tottenham Hotspur, Brentford, Wolves, um, Brighton, Chelsea. That's a game I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Potter's return. Ooh,
Yeah. Right. Chelsea
imagine
is
if he
playing
starts
at
Cucurella in
Brighton.
that game, eh?
And you know,
I'm gonna be
somebody, all they need to do is grab and pull here. You know, when you pull here, you'll see to be able to play tonight. Crystal Palace, Southampton. I am expecting some kind of response from Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
Crystal
yeah.
Palace can't continue to poop on themselves.
Nah, they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
Newcastle, Aston Villa.
That'll
That
be a
should be
good
an
game.
interesting game. And
That'll
as
be a
I
real
say,
good game.
I expect Aston Villa to get licks.
Yeah.
But let's see what Danny Ings and these guys could do. Fulham, Everton. Liverpool, Leeds.
Yeah, that's a game to watch.
Of course, but if Liverpool cannot beat Leeds, I know
Honestly,
that.
I don't expect them to beat Leeds. You know. I actually was
You
thinking
serious?
I honestly was expecting Leeds to win outright, you know.
Well, all right. Liverpool
But
playing at home, eh? That's Liverpool home to lose.
it doesn't matter. I think Liverpool could come down and play in the Marvin Lee Stadium. I think this Liverpool team is so shaky, and with Rodrigo back, my main factor is Rodrigo is fit. You know, the last game that I watched with Leeds, this guy is fit. Now you will get a response from Liverpool, but I don't know, boy. I feel like something
Nottingham
just telling me
Forest.
Leeds can be them.
All right. Well, I agree with you from the standpoint that Liverpool is looking shaky.
Yeah.
But my thing is Leeds still gives oppositions too much
Too
opportunity,
many.
too much
Yeah.
room in the back.
Yeah.
And if Salah can hurt a team like Leeds, who Salah gonna hurt again? That's the way
Yeah.
I look at it.
He needs to go if he can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is why I'm saying I expect Liverpool to win. Because and then you have set pieces with men like Van Dijk could come up. If Ole can't score against Leeds,
Then forget football.
yeah, something one could say is a matter of who score more, right? But I
Yeah.
can't see Liverpool not scoring against Leeds. I
True.
just
Let
can't see.
me. Let me. That's why I say that game. I expect that game. That game could possibly end up must have 5-2 or 4-3.
Anything
That
like
game
that.
could be a seesaw match.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that game. Arsenal, Nottingham Forest on Sunday.
That will be interesting because I
Nottingham
had
Forest
predicted
performance against
I had
Liverpool.
predicted that Arsenal would start to fall off. I predicted that. I predicted that they would fall off because I don't think they have the depth, nor enough experience just yet. But I predicted after the World Cup. So, but we'll see. We'll see how that one goes.
That's my prediction as well. So I expect Arsenal to pull that out.
Yeah.
Manchester United, West Ham.
Yeah, that's a big game. That's a big game.
It's a big game on paper, but I'll be disappointed if United don't beat handily West Ham. West Ham has not been playing well overall this season, and haven't been looking good.
Why I say that's a big game? For me personally, the player I'm watching in that game is Marcus Rashford because historically, Kurt Zuma, he's a nightmare to Kurt Zuma. And Kurt Zuma is their main defender in the back there. Now, I'm not saying West Ham is a bad team, but if Marcus Rashford starts, West Ham could be in a lot of trouble because I know he will go after Zuma, and Zuma struggle. Zuma has never ever looked comfortable dealing with Marcus Rashford, and for me, that is a deal breaker there. So it'll be interesting to see what team Ten Hag puts out. If Rashford starts, it could be a very, very interesting game.
Well, I do expect Rashford to start. The question is whether Ronaldo would start. I think once Martial could run out there, even if he's on crutches, I expect to see Martial in
Yeah.
you know? For sure. Adelaide, always a pleasure to have you
yes, always a pleasure here too, man. Always a pleasure.
Remember, guys, like, subscribe, support what it is we're doing here at the United Hour. And, the World Cup is soon going to be upon us. The World Cup is soon going to be upon us, so we're going to be having World Cup content right here. We're going to be doing it. We're not going to call it the EPL Rewind. We're going to be calling it the World Cup Rewind. And we're going to be starting to do some as soon as the Premier League locks off and we have the last EPL show. We're going to start talking about teams and doing breakdowns of the World Cup. So, you're going to get our World Cup content right here as well. And, we just follow the Premier League. So, we're going to be focusing in on the Premier League players as well, and getting into that zone. This is President Chad. That is how it is.
Yeah.
And we are out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we will be back next week to recap game week 14.
Yep. Keep it
Support
up.
the United Hour. Click that like button and subscribe.